This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back, everyone. If you're feeling maybe kind of stuck or out of sorts, or life isn't what you expect it to be, maybe you say, I deserve more, but it's not showing up, or maybe you say, I can't get out of my own way. Probably really good chance that there's things in your past that are holding you back, often referred to as limiting beliefs and so much more. Lots of modalities out there to help move your life forward. One of them, believe it or not, is sound. Can you imagine listening to what sounds like music could really move your life forward? We're going to talk about that today. She does so much in this field as a Galactic Shaman, Reiki master, animal healer, and a sound healer. And it's so great to have her back with us. Shayna Blackmar is on the program. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing well. Ready, excited.
I know this is going to get a little woo for some, but I say consider this. We all love music. I don't think there's a human on the planet that will say, I hate music, I never listen to it, never, ever. Not true. We all have our own personal preferences, and we put music on for a certain reason, whether it's to feel energized, whether it's to feel happy, whether it's actually to feel sad. Maybe you want to go back. Maybe it's nostalgia, whatever it might be. But that sound is making a difference in you. And when it comes to helping move your life forward or heal, sound is doing the same exact thing, right?
Absolutely. And it's all based on frequency. Everything is frequency. And sound healing is so effective because the instruments are tuned to specific healing frequencies that essentially help raise your body up into those higher frequencies and make it easier for blockages, stagnation to dissolve.
When we talk about frequencies, let's look at energy for a moment. What is energy? Energy is a vibration, and those frequencies, in order for you to hear them, the sound is literally vibrating in the air, and your ears pick it up. The little hairs inside your ears translate that to signals to your brain, but it's all about a vibration. There's vibration in the air, and it's funny how that aligns with energy. If you believe in that everything, well, it's been scientifically proven that everything is energy and everything is a vibration.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I love to share when I'm either in a session or doing a sound bath is you can imagine this vertical chart. I have a picture of it, but we'll just explain it here. And everything is in hertz frequencies. So at the bottom, you've got guilt and shame registering at 20, 30 hertz, moving up grief, 75 hertz, fear, 100 hertz, anger, 150 hertz. And you keep moving up that scale. You've got courage, neutrality, acceptance, joy, peace, love, moving at 200, 300, 400, 500 hertz on this scale. So it's not that we're not doing the work when we're down in those lower frequencies. If we're grieving or anxious about something, it's that they're so dense and heavy, it's easy to get stuck. It's easy to loop. So the really beautiful thing about sound healing is, like I said, the instruments are tuned to 432 hertz, which is considered a miracle tone of nature. Everything's in balance, everything's in harmony. There's no pain, there's no illness, there's no disease. And so you're literally held up in these higher frequencies, making it easier for the lower ones to release. And then the water in our bodies, right, carries the sound to every cell. So it's gentle, yet really deep and powerful at the same time.
This is to show you how much I, like you, walk the walk and talk the talk. I've had this Post-it note right here, and it's a reminder. And if you can see, I know it's hard to see, but the top frequency is love at 528 hertz.
Yeah. I've got two instruments at that frequency, and that is even deeper. It works with the sacred geometry of spheres and spirals. So when you're listening to that frequency, whether in binaural beats on YouTube or an actual instrument live, that you're literally getting deep cellular DNA rejuvenation to the frequency of love.
Interesting. What was that other frequency? 400 something?
432.
Out comes the pen. Add it to the post-it note.
Those are
And,
keepers.
and 432 represents what again?
I've always read it to be a miracle tone of nature. That it's where energy, matter, and vibration are all at 144 hertz, and they add up to 432.
Huh.
And so you've got this perfect balance of everything.
So I've done that before, like you said. I'll seek out on YouTube, and you could just type it in, even just the frequency, 528 hertz, and things will come up. And essentially, it's people that have created, most times, music around a sound, or call it a drone, of the frequency of choice. So 528 could be just a going along, and they'll put music around it so you can listen to it. It's not just hearing this one frequency over and over again. But how can you be intentional about picking out the frequency? There's so many different ones. Why wouldn't we just give me 432? It's, the miracle frequency, and that's the only one that I'm going to listen to. But that's not it.
It's interesting because, and I am not a music major by any means, so I'm, explaining just the bare bones of my understanding is back 100 years ago, the music scale was changed to be a bass at 440 hertz, which is a totally different tone, even though it's not that far off. That does different things in the body. But you've got composers like Mozart and Bach who tuned their music to 432. And so it's just a totally different feel. You may not be able to, explain it mentally. I mean, we know now like the different understanding of the frequencies, but you listen to Mozart versus listening to another composer that tunes to 440, and it's just this totally different feel. And that is very healing and balancing, So it matters. There's these studies that were done, and I think in Colorado, not that long ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago, with music. And this guy, it was a really cool study. He had plants in 5 different greenhouses, totally separate. One greenhouse had nothing in it. One greenhouse he played heavy metal music. Another greenhouse was country. Another one was classical music. And at the end of 3 months, the plants showed very drastic differences. The heavy metal music plants were suffering and like really contracted, and you could tell they were dying essentially. The plants with the country music and the no music were about the same, like a normal health plant. And then the plants at the classical I think it was specifically Bach that they played, had like twice the amount of blooms, were really, really thriving. So you can do your own experiment and see, like, it matters. It makes a difference.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And then I start to wonder, okay, when music is made, popular music, call it that, why wouldn't they make sure that it has like 528 hertz infused in it? We might not even know that it's there. And I wonder if, if that's actually going on, where, to use certain frequencies that we might listen as I like that, but I don't know why I like that.
Yeah, I think there are a few musicians starting to do that. I mean, it's few and far between right now, but it is becoming increasingly more popular as there's just more awareness,
Is there a
People
way
want
to
to share.
explain it? Can you explain it? What actually happens? All right, let's say we were to put on 432 hertz, some kind of music connected to some beats connected to that, or even 528, whatever it might be. What's actually going on within us when we hear that?
Everything is coming into coherence. Um, so that's what I'm hearing, that everything is coming into that vibration of balance. And so the cells, the structure is smoothing out and flowing and coming into this beautiful synchronous state that almost like going back towards our divine blueprint, back towards how we came into the world, all perfect and cute and beautiful. And then listening to an alternative frequency that's not balanced, that's not coherent, creates these little, tiny little um, incoherent structures in our bodies. And so we don't necessarily feel it after one song. I mean, some people may if they're super tuned to that, um, but it definitely accumulates.
Mm. You know, I have to believe too that it is not just about our ears hearing it, but our bodies are probably picking up on the vibration,
Yeah,
right?
100%. Absolutely. We're feeling more than anything. And the more we tune into what we're feeling, the more we can understand the world around us and what our body's like and what it doesn't like. And if it doesn't like something, it's for a very good reason.
I've even heard some studies done with people who can't hear, they're deaf, but they
Mhm.
still feel benefits from, absorbing those frequencies. So, Shayna, walk us through a sound bath. Somebody hires you or they come by. What actually happens?
Yeah, so what I usually do is I'll explain a little bit about sound healing like I did before and how and why it's going to work or help. And then what I do for the first half is drums, gong, Tibetan bowl, those energies, and they're tuned to 432 hertz, and um, those instruments are really breaking up blockages, breaking up densities, getting things moving, creating the space for the healing to happen. And with that space that's been created, then we fill it up with the quartz crystal bowls, and then that even higher frequency. I've got two that are tuned to 528, a crystal bowl, and then another crystal pyramid, so that everything that has been fleshed out, we then fill up with the higher vibration. So you leave and just kind of float on out.
I've never heard it described that way. So I want to go back over that. So initially with what you're doing, you are creating space with someone. So are we flushing out the negativity with phase one of the sound bath?
Essentially, that's one way to describe it. Yeah,
Wow.
flushing out the lower frequency, the lower vibrations.
Never even thought of that. Interesting. Uh, can anybody detect that? Would we ever know? Are we feeling better in the first half of the sound bath?
Well, I mean, people always say they feel amazing after, and I've heard it described so many times like a journey. Um, and uh, everyone's a little different, even if they've had the same, multiple sound baths with me, depending on what's coming through that day, what's clearing, whether they feel something in, one instrument corresponding to a specific chakra or a part of their body. Sometimes a feeling will come up, and the important thing is just keep breathing, let it flow. It's coming up to be cleared, that you're safe, and it's just the past that's ready to leave.
Have you ever talked to anybody that you've worked with and the comparison between, let's say, having a Reiki session and having a sound bath? The feelings that they have, maybe the outcome?
Yeah, it's similar but different. It's like apples and oranges, both healing, um, and both beautiful. And you both, at the end of both, feel just peace, lighter, more balanced, more centered. Um, with the shamanic Reiki sessions, we can do a little bit more specific work because we're working together. collaborating. And with that conscious intention and awareness, you can just flush out even more,
Mm.
essentially, with the shamanic Reiki. But both feel amazing.
So, what is the difference between, call it regular Reiki and shamanic Reiki?
Yeah, so with shamanic Reiki, I'm going in and out of different dimensions, different worlds, connecting with their entire cohort of all their lifetimes and um, going with them, essentially helping them clear and heal, transmute densities and blockages, um, and then helping them integrate it and bring it up even higher for themselves so that they're integrating right there in real time and rising up right there and clearing past life stuff, ancestral stuff, clearing this life, um, and just helping come up and fill up with more of themselves.
Mm.
So
Is
it's
this,
really powerful.
let's say that somebody had a very deep conversation with someone, or maybe a few people, maybe it was a little deep, or let's say you were out somewhere, and let's say you're a little more sensitive, but you don't even know it. Let's say you went to a venue, a concert, or whatever. So now you're exposed to a bunch of different people, different energies, and then the next day you're walking around feeling, I'm just tired today. I don't know, maybe it was sleep. I'm just not feeling off. I don't know what the deal is. Could it be the exchange of energy from the day before has is now weighing you down? And you look at it and just say, maybe I just need more sleep, or I need to eat better, or maybe I'm coming down with something. Is that a possibility?
I love this question because it is 1000% a possibility. Especially if someone is already sensitive or starting to become more sensitive as they're progressing in their journey and raising their vibration, we become more attuned to what's going on, and we share our energy field. It expands, and so even if it's just one person in the room, you're connected to that person in the room at least a little bit. So if you're in a group with 30,000 people, absolutely, it's gonna affect you. And I mentioned coherence before, is when you're in a group or when you're with one other person, everything wants to come into coherence, wants to come into balance with itself. So if you're at a high vibration, but you're around 30,000 low vibrational people, it's gonna bring you down a little bit and help them come up a little bit. So not that it's necessarily bad, it would be beneficial afterwards to then go and clear your field, have some alone time, be in nature, listen to some sound healing.
Hmm.
This is something that affects you a lot and greatly, and you know it's going to happen. You've got plans to go do something. You could set up a session for the next day or whatever to clear. Because yeah, we are we're crystals. We're living crystals. We're affected.
Mm. It's amazing how many of us may be walking around feeling that and not even know what it is and just write it off to something else. But, let's say you had a deep conversation with somebody or a few people the day before. Wow. What are some of those things, short of booking a session with you to clear things out, kind of restart, reset? What are you take a walk in nature? What are some of those things that we can do? Is it really about grounding?
Yeah, absolutely. Being in nature is really some of the fastest way, especially if you can be like away from people, like generally on your own, um, so that you're not still processing other people's energy. There are, energetic clearing and uh, boundaries and practices like that you can look into. That are really helpful. Being alone, taking a shower is actually, or a bath, being in water is actually really cleansing. Doing like a salt bath or salt scrub helps clear the field. So there's definitely some things you can do on your own.
I've heard about even just taking a shower or a bath, that can actually cleanse. So you would need to add salt to whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, even just a regular shower or bath is beneficial. And then if you want to feel like you need a deep clean, do the salt scrub or take a Epsom salt bath.
Should you set an intention? So like, all right, gonna take a shower, feeling like, I need some energetic cleaning. Should you be thinking something? Should you be saying something during that?
Yeah, you totally can. I mean, water is alive. It's liquid crystal, and you can work with it. And
Mm.
sometimes I like to just kind of talk with the water and surrender everything to it and ask it to fill me up with light, to heal wounds, and surrendering everything and just filling up with more light. Absolutely, it will just make it even better.
I never thought of it that way, of water being liquid crystal. Wow. Interesting. I have to tell you, ever since I've started learning about this stuff, understanding it, using it, for positive momentum, I'm tuned into it. Like I seriously, I could go to, a situation where there's, some deep talk and or even be out somewhere and I'm plugged in like the next day. I feel that. Not every day, every time, but I feel that, I'm more tuned into energy when you're starting to do this work. And maybe you have crystals, maybe you're on board for it. Are you more sensitive to energy around you and within people?
I think so. There's so many different tools we can use, and oftentimes sensitive has a negative connotation, but it's actually the opposite. I feel it's a superpower, and we're sensitive to different things for a reason. It's our body collects and processes just unbelievable amounts of data all day long. And
Mm.
so if we're becoming sensitive to something, it's good. It's your body's way of saying, hey, there's something here you need to pay attention to that is affecting us in a negative way. How are you going to honor your body? How are you going to honor your heart? How are you going to honor yourself? By listening to those sensitivities.
We take it for granted. We don't even realize what's going on there. We eat, we sleep, we go to work and think, oh, that's it. The body takes care of the rest. But there's so much more going on there and so much that we can heal from. And my belief that we all have things to heal from. And this is it, with everything you offer. I would love to get to shamanic God code next time we get together. Would that be okay?
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
That'd be great.
How do we get, I know you're in Austin, so you can do in-person sessions there. If somebody's, within the metro, but virtual sessions for anybody anywhere. What's the best way to find you?
Yeah, through my website, it's vurusha.com, Vurusha.com, or through social media, Instagram, Shayna Blackmar Healing. The links are there.
Very cool. Thank you for all the insight, validation for me. I mean, I kind of chuckling at my post-it note with frequencies and I just added some more to it. This is what makes us and will make us feel better and move things forward. Thank you so much for today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.